All right, hey, welcome back. It's great to be here and continue to be playing football this time of year. The first thing I want to do is acknowledge the passing of Coach Holland. Had the good fortune of getting to know him a little bit, be around him a little bit, but more so just learning about him from former players, from former colleagues, fans. He was one of a kind, not only as a player and a coach, but just as a person. Saw him mid-season. I think it was the week of our first Weber game, and it was good to spend a little bit of time with him. And obviously, very sad to learn of his passing. But his impact on this program, on this university, will last forever. So, certainly our condolences are with his family and all the people that were so close to him that were involved in this program. Like I said before, we're excited to continue to be playing. You get to this point in the season, you're doing a lot of good things, and then on the flip side, you're going to be playing against good teams, and that's what we have in Willie Mary coming in here, a team that won their league, has found a way to win close games, has the same record as us, 11-1, and had a real dominating win this past weekend, and they're a team that certainly has our full attention. They offensively are very explosive, can run the ball really well. In Saturday's game, they put up 300 yards passing at the same time, and defensively as a unit to really contend with. So, we're in a week where we play Friday. We've adjusted. We sped up a little bit the week, I guess, as far as that goes today with our practice, and look forward to the opportunity to play on Friday night in front of not only our crowd but a national TV audience. So with that, I'll open it up.
The Sonny Holland tapping of the statue, was that before you, or did it start with you?
I think it was before. The problem's been going on for a long time, and the statue's been there for a while now. So I think it was going on before, but certainly important. And we showed a video that was produced probably 10 years ago. I wanted our guys to learn more about who the guy is that the end zone stands are named after, the statue, all that, and it was we did that like mid-season, the same week that I went and saw him, and I think for our guys to have a better understanding of who he was and what his principles were, in particular as a coach. The video was done more about his coaching and specifically that championship season. So I think our guys know full well who Coach Holland is, and we'll wear a decal on our helmets the rest of the season now to honor him.
Is the decal, will it be his initials? Is it, I guess what does
I haven't
it say?
seen it yet, so
Okay.
not even sure.
Okay.
So apologize for that.
No worries.
Does his passing add any meaning to the rest of the season for you guys?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think he's a important figure in our program, and to say we're gonna, I just think our guys understanding who he was and what he meant to this program is probably the biggest thing, and then to go and honor him, not only with a decal on our helmet, but also our play. So yeah, we certainly want to take this as far as we could for Coach Holland.
I guess switching to William and Mary, Mike London is a coach with a lot of experience, both FBS and FCS. I guess what have you kind of seen from him? I guess his program the last few years kind of making a rise.
Yeah, had the success at Richmond prior to moving up, and then came back to the FCS ranks and took this job over, and I was familiar. We never played William and Mary at North Dakota State, but they were a playoff team in those last couple of years. I know that I was there, or you seen them across, or we played a couple CAA teams, so you saw the brand of football that William and Mary played at that time, and it felt like they were a really good program. And with Coach London going there and taking it to where he has right now, it's been impressive. It's apparent that they have a good recruiting base where they're located. They've done a great job as far as that goes, and they've developed guys. You can see that watching them on film.
And then I guess their offense, Darius Wilson at quarterback. What have you seen from him and kind of their offense in general?
Yeah, offensively they get the potential to be really dynamic and deceptive, and he's certainly the catalyst. Runs well, has good rushing stats, and then he can throw it too. And they use they use him in some different ways. They put some other guys in that quarterback position, not necessarily quarterbacks, but they snap it to a bunch of different guys. They have they have good skill, good running backs, good receivers, and they utilize them a lot of different ways. They move them around in a lot of different ways. Good O-line, good tight ends. They have the ability to run the football. I think they're over 270 a game. That puts them in the top 5 rushing in the FCS. And then, like I said, they threw it for 300 against Gardner-Webb. So explosive offense, and he is certainly the key, and he is a talented quarterback.
And then defensively, I think Pius has like 19 tackles for loss.
Yeah.
What have you seen from that defensively?
They're principled for sure. They don't put themselves in a lot of bad positions, and they turn some of those guys loose. So he plays an outside backer, but really plays a defensive end quite a bit. And yeah, anytime you get those figures as far as tackles for losses, and I think he's got 11 sacks as well, and he leads them in tackles. Very active player. And then their other end, I know 99 has a high number of TFLs and sacks as well. I think linebacker play, they're very strong. So they've been, they've offense, defense, much like we want to, they've really complemented each other through the course of the season. In big games, close games, they've held on to leads, they've taken the ball away defensively, and they found ways to score on offense. So really impressed with what they put on film.
And then I guess you faced good running teams before this season, especially like Davis or Weaver. I guess will that kind of help you prepare for a team like William & Mary, especially on a short week?
Yeah, I think so. I think our defense, the first and foremost principle is that we're going to stop the run, and be gap sound, and have guys in position to tackle the football. And so yeah, we faced some really good offensive teams in our league, some teams that are run oriented, and we've done all right against them, and we got to be able to call upon that, but understand that William & Mary's scheme is just a little bit different, but there's only so many schemes offensively that you can run, so we have to be where we need to be, and when we're there, tackle some really good players, whether that's the whole host of running backs they have or their quarterback.
And then I know you kind of mentioned on Saturday, but now that you've seen the film, is there anything that kind of stuck out from Coach Daly, I guess, calling the defense?
Well, I thought we made some good adjustments. The plays that maybe popped in the first half. I think coming in at halftime, we knew what went wrong, I guess, on those particular plays. It was a couple plays where Weber changed the look, whatever, and did something a little bit differently than they probably had, and that happens in any kind of football game. So I thought we came in, and as a staff, they got together and made some really good adjustments. And quarterback switch, they're chasing points at the end. We're trying to just keep the ball in front of us. Unfortunately, we didn't do that on each play, but I thought from a call perspective, I thought Bobby did a real good job.
And will he be calling plays on
No, we'll go back to our normal way of doing things.
The Tribe's putting up like 36 points per game. What's the best way to keep them out of the end zone?
Well, I think it starts with slowing down the run game. They get things going run-wise, and the RPO and the play action off that is where they've got a lot of big plays. They have a bunch of playmakers, so it's not just our quarterback. He can hand the ball off to some effective runners, and he can throw it to some really talented guys too. So like any week for us, it's really limiting the run game. You're not going to completely shut it down, but it's limiting the run game. And then from a pass perspective, again, I say keep the ball in front of us. And we haven't been perfect at that by any means, but I think we've gotten better and better at that as the season has gone along. So, we get them in pass situations. I like our chances. When it's an obvious pass situation, we can turn our guys up front loose. That's what we want to get into. So, I don't think it's any different type of approach. Particulars maybe within that approach adjust from one week to the next, but we're definitely excited about the challenge.
How would you assess your coverage of the pass this past Saturday?
Outside of a couple plays, which those couple plays still count, it was pretty good. We let a couple plays get behind us. The touchdown on the 3rd and long in the first quarter, and then the longer play. We were in zone coverage that got behind us in the 4th quarter. I think outside of that, we defended it pretty well. The ball was in the air a few times. They made some good plays. I thought that we did as well. we put pressure on them. We hit their quarterback. Obviously forced another guy into the game. And I thought the other guy played really well, and he was, he gave them a little bit of spark, because I think at that time Barron was pretty beat up, and then you bring in the fresh legs. He ran around a little bit differently on us. So, but all in all, I think it was a solid performance. And the biggest thing we did against Weber, though, we really limited their run game, and that made it hard for them.
How important do you think Brian Armstrong has been for the offensive line success this season?
No, I think real important, and I think the continuity that Brian brought to our new staff, and a guy that had been here several years. He hadn't worked with the O-line exclusively through that time, but he knew the guys. I think he knew what we had, and I think he knew we had some young guys in particular that if we keep developing them, we could really have something. And that work he's done with those guys from the time I got here, but in particular out of last season through this year, has been very impressive. You bring a group together. It's about teaching. It's about the development on the field. It's about setting expectations for what it should look like, holding him accountable, and I think he's done a real good job of that through the course of this year.
It seems like he's pretty adaptable. Like he can switch when different linemen are there. He'll switch to an outside zone, more athletic guys like that. Is that fair to say? Yeah.
I think anytime you've coached for some time, being adaptable is part of it, because you really have to. To me, you have to take your scheme and fit it to your guys, as opposed to thinking you're always going to have these guys that are going to fit to your scheme. That's just not the way it goes. Recruiting wise, you don't have the pick of the litter all the time, so you got to recruit the guys you think can play, and then really assess what they can do. And that, in a run game, that's a collection of your O-line, your backs, your ball carriers in general. And I think we've done a really good job of assessing who we are and then playing to those strengths this season. And that's certainly Coach Armstrong. It's Taylor. It's Tyler Walker. It's the whole crew, and Jimmy Beal. The whole crew coming together in a run game and really devising a plan each week that's going to allow us to move the football.
And then his recruiting style, I guess, and his recruiting prowess, I guess, and then also his coaching style. How would you describe those two elements?
Well, I think adaptable would be the word, because, like I said, recruiting the offensive lineman, we don't have this. Hey, we're going to get all these 6'5" monsters necessarily. Now, okay, if we get a 6'5" kid, is he a lighter kid that can develop? You got to be able to see that. Is he going to be committed to developing? Is he going to be athletic? If you have a guy that maybe doesn't have the height that you like, now what are his strengths? So I think in recruiting, at this level, they're not going to all look the same, but they better have some of the same qualities: the athleticism, the ability to develop. And develop is certainly in the weight room, but it's developing a style of play that we want to be about. And we really want to, we need to be smart. Those guys need to be intelligent players up there, up front. So yeah, I think we've honed in on what we're looking for, generally speaking, and then you bring them in, and it's up to Brian in particular, Coach Herron, to put their touches on them, I guess, and make them into what they are. And the good thing is we're playing really well up front, but we're young, and I think we got a capacity to continue to grow with that group and some of the guys that we're not seeing out there.
You kind of mentioned it up top, but what changes about this week prep-wise with the game on Friday as opposed to Saturday?
Well, we brought the guys in yesterday and watched the game. We typically would give them Sunday off. We practiced longer today. So it just kind of moves everything up a day. You have the 8:15 kick on a Friday, which we've had an 8:15 kick a couple times now on Saturday. So I think we're used to that long day. So I think those are the subtle things that change. But otherwise, you just set your clock forward a little bit, and they set the time when you're going to go play on it.
And wonder if you had any roster updates for this game.
Yeah, really out of that game, there wasn't much that occurred as far as injuries go. We've had a few guys slowed up, but not to keep them out, and we didn't suffer anything new. So we were fortunate to come out of that game feeling pretty good.
And then I guess now seeing the film, anything about Isaiah that kind of stuck out from his performance this past last Saturday?
I thought there was a couple runs that you said that there it is, as far as breaking tackles, making people in the back end really frustrated with trying to tackle them. But there was a little rust too. I think he had 10 carries and, it was probably a 50-50 proposition on, what looked really good and then whether it was timing or whatever, that there's still some work to be done. But, he blocked well when he had a chance to as well, so it wasn't just him carrying the football. I think his presence out there was felt, and I anticipate that with a week or a game under his belt, he'll be able to take a step forward this next week.
Is there anything else you can say about the return of Willie Mack? Anything else you'd like to say?
No, I mean I think this. Missing a game as a coach, that's a stiff penalty. We are in this profession obviously to develop and mold young men, but then to also be part of that competition on a Saturday. So he served that penalty in addition to a few other things. I guess that was the primary deal, and we're excited to get him back, and so I'll leave it at that.
John, any questions from Richmond?
But Brent, in your experience, this is John O'Connor from the Richmond paper. Thank you for letting me in. In your experience as a coach, what is the best way to acclimate to this competition from another part of the country that you don't have any common opponents, not terribly familiar with? How do you sort of latch on to what they are, what William and Mary is? Thank you.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think that's the beautiful thing about this time of year. You do get these cross-conference, cross-country matchups, and I think you got to do your best of watching the video and assessing what you think it looks like, and certainly holding your opponent that becomes one of 8 now in very high regard. And there's certainly some allowing it to play out at the early stages of the game. I know that's part of it, but I think you can really assess what you see schematically. You can make your best judgment on what they are like as individuals physically, and then you got to go out and really still be more worried about what you do and how you play, and but there is certainly that element of kind of figuring some of that out as you go. But they're a good, William Mary's a really good team, and that's apparent. And to get caught up in trying to sort out any comparing of scores and any of that, that's not worth anything at this point in time.